Dorian, before we go back to that day, I want to talk to you about your life today. Oftentimes people get stuck on the day of the incident and they don't think about any of the people involved after that. For you, your life has had to change in, I would think, drastic ways. What's been the hardest thing for you?
Well, definitely the hardest thing is getting back to the regularly scheduled programming, getting back to paying bills, paying rent, and basically just at a stable level where I can be comfortable with making decisions for my kids and everything else.
How much do you think about that day? Do you think about that day every day? Or have you gotten past that now?
Definitely, I try not to dwell in it because, again, it'll hinder me from my future goals, but I definitely think about that kid every day. Every time I look at an innocent kid that just want to do something with their life and it gets stopped midway, it always take me back to Mike Brown.
Have you grown from this?
I've definitely learned to look at life different, make a lot of decisions, think about my decisions before I make them. So, yeah, I definitely learned from it.
So in one sense, out of the tragedy for you personally, hopefully, this has been a learning lesson?
A learning lesson about the way you carry yourself. Yeah, it's a big learning lesson.
What do you want people to understand about you that you think they don't know based on all that's been out there in the press?
I'm definitely a good guy. What they put out in the press about my past history and stuff, that's not me. That's not who I am. That's not how my mother and my parents raised me.
But that's not who you are today, you mean?
No, not today. Today, I'm still Dorian Johnson. Still very much Dorian Johnson. It's just now how my mind works. Like I said, decisions, I really think them out before I make them because I know how they could affect you, really.
You do accept, though, that, like most of us, you had some stumbles in your past.
Oh, correct. No doubt about it. Everyone's had a couple falls, but it's all about yourself and getting back up, brushing off, and continuing what you got going.
All right, let's go to that day, if we can. How long had you known Mike Brown?
Prior to that day, a month or two, a few months.
Now, I've read as many as 5 months, so did you know him a month or two, half a year? What was it about?
On a personal level.
You knew of him for how long?
I knew of him for about 5 months. Again, we stayed in the same neighborhood.
Just a cat that was around?
Yeah, he was around.
You knew his name, you didn't hang out?
No, I didn't even know his name at this point. With the 5 months, I didn't know his name. I just see him when I'm coming from work or going to work. It didn't take to a month or two before the incident that I spoke to him and figured out his name. We actually had to talk to one another, so.
All right, so let me take you to that day. We're going to try to go through. If we leave anything out, come back and tell me about it. So you hook up with him at some point and you head to the store, okay, right?
Correct.
You just bump into him on the street? Were you all planning to meet? What was that?
I know. I came out of my apartment. Again, I was living there paying bills, paying rent, so I came out of my apartment. He was already standing out helping his friend's sister with her kids in the car, so that's how we saw each other that morning. Okay,
so you decide what, to go to the store?
Yes, actually I was headed to a friend's house that was like right in his direction, and upon me going there, kind of stopped and spoke to him because I seen him out there. I wouldn't just walk past anyone that I know.
Right.
So I stopped and spoke to him, and we kind of began getting into a conversation.
Okay, and you then just start walking, or your plan is to go to a store?
Yeah, I go to the store, go to the store and grab a few items, and then come back and continue our conversation. But before then, I asked if he could grab his buddies that we both knew. We had mutual friends, I should say. And go grab the buddies, we'll all go and walk to the store.
Okay, does that happen?
The guys didn't get up. They were actually tired from the night before, so they kind of stayed laying down, and that's how it ended up just me and Mike.
All right, so the two of you head to the store. There is no conversation about what you're going to do in that store, or is there?
Oh, correct. No conversation about what we're doing at the store. It was just conversation about what we're doing, how to go about living better, and school-wise, because he was telling me he was just going to go off to school, and I told him I had already been in school as a freshman. So.
All right, so let's clean this up so people won't make any mistakes. There was no conversation between you and Mike Brown prior to going to that store about we're going to go in and pick up some things, we're going to steal some stuff, we're going to do whatever, correct?
Yes, correct. No talk about, yeah, we're finna go in and knock this place over, or we're finna rob this place. No talk about that.
So no talk about the store at all, you're just going to the store?
Yeah, just
all right. You're holding a conversation about bettering your lives, etc. You get to the store, what happens at that point? You separate?
No, at this point, I'm standing behind Mike. It was actually another guy in the store before we got in there. So he's at the register, he's at the counter. And Mike went to the other counter, and him and the clerk exchanged words.
Did you know this clerk?
No.
You'd never been in that store, or you just...
I just had moved. I moved in Ferguson. I don't know, Mike Brown and his family, they probably stayed in Ferguson for years. I haven't even been there a year, so he's still new to me. I just moved in Ferguson, so I didn't know that.
All right, so you go in. Does Mike seem like he knows this guy or no?
It appeared to me that they knew each other. The conversation that they was having, he looked like he knew him to me, so I didn't really get into that conversation. I kind of stepped back just to get him a little space.
All right, let's get to the point that everybody wants to know. The question of whether Mike takes anything. Does he take something?
Yes, he grabbed the cigarillos. He grabbed the rellos. I don't know why, because I'm not a psychic. I couldn't read your mind sitting in front of me, so I definitely couldn't read his mind, and it happened.
So he takes the Tipperillos, and the clerk says, what, hey, got to pay for those? What ensues at that point, and what do you do?
Actually, the clerk never said anything. The clerk never said you had to pay for anything. The clerk didn't say anything. He was just, he tried to stop him. He walked around and tried to stop, but he didn't. He didn't touch Mike. He didn't do anything.
So when you say he tries to stop him, what does he do?
He just puts his arm on the door. He just put one of his arm on the door, and the guy's smaller than me. He just put his arm on the door, and then...
So he's a little man.
He's a little man.
Okay.
So when Mike opened the door, it wasn't like, he just opened the door. His hand's little over mine. Mike's a big gentleman, so just opened the door. Not real thrustful, not real, and the guy kind of backed off.
But I mean, let's be honest.
Yeah.
He's taking these without payment, whether it's thrustful or not.
Yeah.
He just takes them.
Yeah,
Okay.
Exactly. And so the guy kind of, he didn't never pick the guy up how they made it seem. He never picked the guy up off his feet or anything like that. He kind of just...
let's be honest. He probably just looks at the dude like, what you gonna do? Yeah. I'm leaving.
Stir down, basically.
Right.
And the guy backed off, and we walked out. Now, don't get me wrong. This whole time, in my head, I'm like, all right, but it's happening while I'm there, and I definitely don't want to make it look like we planned anything out or that I had anything to do with it. It's why I'm walking around. I'm not trying to be a part of it, just like the other guy who's in the store before us. He walks around. I'm walking around because I don't know what's going on.
So there's question of whether you were handed any goods, whether you were given the Tipperillos, whether you put some back. What happens there? Does an exchange happen? If so, what is that? Where is that in this activity?
Oh, he definitely, when he first reached back, he grabbed the box of 69-cent mini Rellos, turned to me, handed them to me. At this time, I was thinking he was going to pay for them until I seen him grab the rest of them and turn towards the door, and at that time, that's when I put the box back on the counter.
Mm-hmm. All right, so you leave and say what?
Basically, I didn't say anything. I gave him the look almost to, hey man, like, you know what you just did. And like, I gave him the look, and he kind of replied back like, real comfortable and calmly, don't worry about that, just come on, we talking about just walk normal, and we'll be all right. And we walked.
So you don't say anything. You don't say to him, dog, what's up, man? What you doing that for? You don't say anything.
I didn't say that. I told, we were talking about the conversation, but don't get me wrong, I gave him that look, like, come on, man. But since, I know what just happened, and, all right, let's go. Let's go.
So you just ready to leave?
Let's go, yeah, let's go. I'm not finna leave you, I'm not gonna run. We didn't run. We didn't run out the door or anything like that. And I didn't feel like I should leave him, even though I know I didn't do anything and I put what he gave me back. I still didn't feel to leave him, to still listen to what he was saying, be a good friend, and listen to what he had on his mind. Because clearly he had a lot on his mind and a lot on his head, on his heart that he wanted to get off to somebody. So I was just there to listen.
What was that?
Basically, the changes that was going on to him. He was going through a lot of changes at the time. Well, so what I understand, he had just graduated, was thinking about going off to school. He was doing a lot with his music. I don't know how his living situation was, but I know he wasn't living with his mother or father.
So you didn't say at all after that incident to him, hey man, I thought you were trying to clean up your life. What's that about?
Yeah, I mean, when we got back to our destination, of course, we were definitely gonna be like, hey man, you could have put me in something that, that could have went bad for both of us. So we just never made it back to the house to get that part out. Because he still was.
So you didn't have that conversation. It was your intention to have that conversation.
Correct.
When you got where you're going. All right, let's take it to when the incident occurs. You're in the street, police officer drives by you, first? How does that, what happens there?
What we talking about, for Canfield or West Florissant?
The first initial passing of the patrol car.
All right, West Florissant coming out of the store, crossing back across the street. It was an initial patrol car on McDonald's lot. They was right there coming out, so I know they saw us. They definitely saw the cigarellos. I don't know if he put the call out yet, but that patrol car didn't stop us. And continuing to walk down West Florissant, you know, we saw another patrol car. I saw the patrol car ride past us. I thought they was going to pull over and stop us, but they didn't. They actually kept going past the store itself. So that gave me a notion that, hey, maybe this guy never called the police. So that's how I was feeling walking. And that's why, you know, where I was like, and we'll talk about it when we get home. The police clearly not messing with us. He didn't call the police, but we'll talk about it when we get home.
Or you just figure, hey, dodge that bullet, let's
just go, right.
Okay. Then what happens?
We continue to walk, and we get to Canfield, and that's when we make our right down Canfield. We get down to Canfield a little bit to the leasing office. Is when he finally asked me to get in the middle of the street with him, you know, have a conversation.
Now, why would you have a conversation, people are going to say, in the middle of the street, when you're not that far from your house?
Exactly. Well, you know, again, I don't know what's going on in his mind, to why he asked to get in the middle of the street to have a conversation.
But somebody says to me, come on, man, stand in the middle of the street with me and have a conversation. I'm going to tell them, no, dog, let's go on the sidewalk. Let's go to my house. Let's sit on the porch. I'm not going to stand in the middle of the street. Right,
and that's the thing. We weren't standing in the middle of the street, and it's not like, this is not a main street. This is not West Florissant. This is not Lucas and Hunt. This is not Goodfellow. This is a neighborhood street.
So it's a side street, no real traffic coming in.
No real traffic going in. So we're walking basically on a clear road. There's nobody, you know, until a few cars come by. But even these cars, no one's blowing their horn saying, hey, you guys get out the street, or making any turns, illegal turns, to where we're in their way. So I felt we were cool enough to walk in the street and have the conversation. We were just a couple of seconds away from our building. So I'm like, hey, let's go.
All right. Then what?
Then I see the police cruiser coming. I know Mike sees it. He's standing right behind me. I see it coming. This is the police cruiser I feel like that the man called. I tend to run, but Mike stopped me. He said, hey, man, be cool. You know, everything gonna be all right.
So when you say you started to run, or you thought about running?
Oh yeah, I started to run. My foot I was almost gone, but
he grabs you
right on the shoulder
and says, chill.
Chill, be cool. You don't gotta run. Everything all right. Just keep walking and we're gonna keep talking. Okay. So we doing. We still walking and talking, and as soon as the police car gets on side us, the strangest thing happened. You know, in my mind, hey, I just got the call about the store. He finna stop us, but he didn't say anything about the cigarellos. He didn't say anything about the store, and this is Dorian Wilson I'm talking about.
Right.
Pulled right on the side of us and says, get the fuck on the sidewalk. Pardon my French.
Just, that's what he says to you?
Verbatim.
So you assume that he hasn't received a call. Doesn't mean that he hasn't, but you're assuming that if he didn't say, hey, where were you all 5 minutes ago, what have you, so you're wondering, here comes harassment again. I suspect that's what you're thinking. This cat's just here giving us problems.
And not a harassment thing, just a cop, just trying to be a cop, a smart ass, just, hey, get the hell out the street.
Okay, and then what?
After he said get out the street, Mike never said anything. I opened my mouth. I told Officer Dorian Wilson that I live here. You know, I pay rent. My building is right here. We're just having a conversation.
Now, do you say this calmly?
Oh, yes, very calmly. At this time, I didn't feel.
But you just said, let's be honest, you just said a cop harassing. That happens in these neighborhoods. We know that. So you had to have a little bit of a chip on your shoulder. Like, here it goes again.
Oh, not at all, because like I said, harassing is one thing, but talking to somebody aggressive is another. I know how to handle that. Harassing would have been him parking his car in front of us, hey, and trying to pat us down. That's harassing. But he stopped and he just said, get the fuck on the sidewalk. And I calmly responded to him, hey, I stay right here. You know, if I want to walk across the street or anything, I pay rent, I pay bills. There's the lease's office right here. You can go in and check my name if you want to. But I told him, I stay a minute away. We're just having a conversation. We'll be out the street shortly. And I felt that was okay. I felt like I didn't say anything wrong to him, threaten him in any type of way. I actually thought I heard him, like I felt I heard him continue to drive. And that's what made me feel like, okay, continue to walk. And that's what happened.
So at that point, you don't say anything other than, I live here, we'll be out of here in a minute, what have you, and you start to walk.
Correct.
All right, you don't say anything else to him.
Correct.
Okay. All right. And then what?
I heard his gears change.
So he has pulled off a bit then.
He's pulled off a little bit, but I can hear the gears changing.
And you say, you nor Mike say anything else?
Nothing else. After I said what I said, that was it,
All
and
right.
I perceived him to go.
He puts the car in reverse, comes back.
In a
and
very fast manner to where me and Mike had to jump out the way. We literally had to take a quick step back or we would have been struck by the back of his cruiser because he was reversing in a manner where he didn't reverse just straight back. It's almost like he turned his wheel to try to strike us. I don't know if that was his intentions, but that's where we had to step out the way or we would have been hit. So that's what caused us to be almost chest to door with him. Like we were right here, his door is almost already on our chest.
All right, and then now comes the tricky part. There's a question now of what occurs. So if you're chest to door, that means either he's got to open that door and push you back, or you all have to step back to allow him. Does he at that point try to get out of the car?
Well, his initial pullback when he, what the fuck did you say? That's the next thing that came out his mouth. And that threw me in a shock mode because I felt like me and you just talked. I said everything that I needed to say clearly, and I thought you understood.
And your claim is we said nothing else after that.
Nothing else.
Right.
Mike, I know for a fact Mike never said anything at this point because I was the one talking. And I thought I said everything in a manner that he understood. He drove off and came back, and no one said anything. But he I don't know if he thought or heard anything while he was driving off, but he was real. He was mad when he came back.
So he's agitated now.
He's agitated.
Okay.
Correct. So he's, what the fuck did you say? And I looked at him like, I didn't even say nothing then because I looked at him like, what? Like, really? I just said what I said, but I didn't use, like, he made it seem like I didn't, threatened him or cussed him out or anything, and didn't anything like that. So, and I know Mike didn't say anything,
Okay.
So it got me confused at why he's pulling back in this manner. Like, what just happened? Did I miss something? And nothing really happened. But at that time, that's when he tried to open his door. But again, we were so close, it did nothing but ricochet. And Mike is a big guy, so majority of the door hit him. A slight of the door hit my arm, but it bounced and ricocheted back on him.
All right.
At that time, he got more and more aggravated. His arm came right out the window, like almost simultaneously with the door closing back. The door closed back, Dorian Wilson's arm come out the window, and it grabbed Mike around his throat, but slid down to his shirt collar. So now he's just holding on to his shirt collar, saying, what the hell did you say?
All right, so let's stop right there and let's talk about what some people will suggest, and this is when we get into the DOJ suggesting maybe some of what was said did not necessarily jive with their investigation. If I'm in a vehicle, I got a big dude who's heavier than I am when I get out of this car. If I'm trying to grab his neck and slide down, that's a bad position for me as a cop.
Correct.
I'm sitting, you're standing, you weigh more than me anyway, and I'm just hanging on to you with one arm, and probably my left arm. So if he's not left-handed, then I'm already on my weak arm on that. That's what you're saying has occurred.
Correct.
All right, and then what happens? Because now the question is, does Mike now go into the vehicle going after him, trying to, if nothing else, clear that arm, or he's pissed off now and I'm coming to get you, or does the cop now advance in your mind? What happened?
Oh, no, definitely not in my mind because I was standing right there the whole time when me and Mike is shoulder to shoulder still while Dorian Wilson has his hand on his shirt, his collar. So at this time, Mike, his hands are filled because he has the cigarillos, so he puts his hand, one hand at the top of the cruiser and the other hand in the front to push away. Mm-hmm. So now he's pushing away, but he's also saying, leave us alone, leave us the fuck alone. We're not doing anything. We're not doing anything, leave us alone. And he's pushing off the car while Dorian Wilson's pulling in. And that's why it was strange to me because it's like he's not trying to get back out his car. He never tried to reopen the door. It's like he's trying to pull Mike Brown. He's very big, and he's trying to pull him through this small window. So I'm standing right there as he's pulling him toward the small window. Mike's pushing away. Of course, the cruiser's rocking because they're both, they're grown men. Well, Dorian Wilson being grown and Mike being a young adult. They're, back and forth. So it wasn't a wrestle. It wasn't a Mike jumped in the window. It wasn't anything like that, just a tug of war. And it was just spiraling
Now,
down
what are you
from
doing at this point?
I'm standing in shock because, I grew up in Walnut Park, so I've seen a little bit of police after, use a little bit more force to get somebody. So I've known that, but in Ferguson, I don't take the community of kids in Ferguson to be that. You don't have to do that with them. Not with these kids, because they're not that bad. They're not bad at all to me, to where you have to use that type of force with them.
All right, so how do we get from that situation, push back, pull in, so at some point that's got to break. It breaks, and what happens?
It didn't break, because the whole time Dorian Wilson, he never let go. He never let go of Mike. Mike, he's trying his hardest to get away. He's not grabbed. He never once grabbed Dorian, and that was even more odd to me. He never once grabbed Dorian Wilson by the arm and just kind of yanked him off. He's using the police cruiser to try to push away, but Dorian Wilson had a nice grip. He never let go. He never let go until he started saying something. And when I figured out what he said.
Who started saying?
Dorian Wilson.
And he said what?
I'll shoot. And by this time, his gun is out already. Whatever he had was out, but I was looking at Mike Brown almost to tell him to, hey.
So, all right, let's get to that point. There are going to be people to say that you want me to buy, if he didn't already have the gun out on a seat, that this cat is holding you, struggling, and I'm still going and getting my gun.
Yeah.
That's what you're saying occurred.
Oh, yeah.
Could you see inside of the cruiser?
I definitely
Did he get a gun out of a holster? Was it on a seat?
I didn't see. I seen him grab down and pull it. So whether it was in his holster or just laying
all
around
the while fighting Mike Brown.
I saw with my eyes. Mike Brown never got into this window to get on the right side, because I can do it the same way. So people gonna tell me that Mike Brown, this big man, climbed in this window over Dorian Wilson and grabbed his gun? It doesn't make any sense. It makes more sense that Dorian Wilson was getting a little, and he pulled the gun out. I don't know if he thought it was a taser, he thought it was mace, but regardless of what he thought it was, he pulled out the gun.
Pulled out. All right, so now he's got gun in hand, he says, I'll shoot.
Yes.
What occurs? Now does Mike say, all right, I'm done? Or does the tussle still occur?
Oh, no way. The tussle still occurring. Mike is not afraid. He's making it clear, hey, I'm not afraid of your gun, I'm not afraid, but...
You say he's making it clear by what? The fact that he's
saying,
there.
Yeah, he's saying he didn't take off a run, and then he couldn't anyway. Dorian Wilson still had it.
But by that, I want to make sure we're clear. When you say he's not afraid, in other words, he's not backing down. He's not stepping away because he sees the gun.
Oh, no, and if he couldn't, he couldn't anyway. Dorian Wilson still had it.
All right, so then he's not becoming less aggressive.
And I wouldn't put it in that that term exactly. It's just like he's not letting the gun make it seem like we were doing anything wrong. So he's just basically saying, we're not doing anything, and, I'm not afraid of your damn gun. We're not doing anything.
But just that. Somebody has a gun out. You say, I ain't afraid of your damn gun, and that means I'm not backing down.
Yeah, yeah, basically. And with that, it was almost like I'm looking at Mike, because in my head, it's a taser. I didn't see it was a gun until I looked directly at the barrel.
Gun comes out. Now, what happens? What happens between this tussle and when they separate? How does that occur?
That occurs because with Dorian Wilson bringing the gun out, he said, I'll shoot. He started to say it a second time, and the gun went off. He shot the gun. It definitely hit Mike. Where I couldn't tell you because I was in shock of the gun just going off in my face. I can see the fire coming out the barrel. My legs didn't want to move, but my body was trying to get out the way. I've been shot. I've been hit by a straight bullet before. Getting off the school bus one day after football practice. So I know how hot metal feels.
Right.
My body was tensing up because I see that he has the gun. So I'm trying to get out the way, but I couldn't move my feet.
So you hear the gunshot first. Do you see that Mike is now either pulling back? You can tell he's been hit.
Oh, yes. Yes. After that shot, the blood, I don't know where the blood came from, but I definitely see blood splatter down Mike Brown. I see the blood. I'm in shock. That's when Dorian Wilson let go. That was the only time he let go. When that shot went off, it's almost like, oh damn. So it was just like, that was the only time he let go. And that gave us that split second time where I was like, it's blood on you. I know we don't have anything on us that can possibly harm Dorian Wilson.
So as far as you know, here's another one of those things that was in the press early on. As far as you know, Mike Brown is not armed.
Oh, he's not armed at all.
As far as you know.
I know for a fact.
How do you know that?
He has on basketball shorts. If he had anything, it'd be bulging out, anything. And then I was walking with him the whole day, you know, nothing.
Did you ever know him to carry a gun?
Not at all, not at all. No, he's not one of those type of guys.
All right, Mike is shot. Does he stumble back? Does he look at where he's shot? Is he looking around? Is he in shot? What do you see now?
What I'm seeing, and I'm still here shoulder to shoulder with Mike, it feels like all three of us are in shock. Because like I said, Dorian Wilson never Mike tried. He was pushing to get off, loosen the grip. Dorian Wilson never loosened his grip. When that shot went off, it's like all three of us was
Let me ask you something. You just said it seems like all three of us were in shock. Do you believe with that Dorian Wilson did not intend to fire the gun at that time?
At that time, I didn't think he intended to fire the gun. I think he was trying to
move you back with the power of the gun,
with the power of the gun, basically to say, you know, I got a gun. I got a gun. Yeah. So, and that's the reason you don't play with guns. If that wasn't your intention, the gun went off and it definitely hit Mike Brown.
All right. So Mike stumbles away or moves away.
Didn't even stumble. Like I said, it felt like all three of us were shot because they're staring at each other.
Right.
I'm staring at Mike and the blood down on his shirt. No one's moving, but I can see that Dorian Wilson doesn't have Mike anymore. So that's when in my mind, okay, let's go. Not that we're running from Dorian Wilson, but I'm running from that gun that he pulled out and he shot.
So do you verbally say let's go? Do you pull Mike Brown? What do you do at that point?
I pulled him. At that time, I didn't know if he was shot in his shoulder, in his arm, his hand.
So you say let's go.
Yeah, I grabbed him.
Because you don't want to take time to see if this cop has intentions to shoot. You just want to get away from the gun, as you say.
We'll talk about it later. You know, let's get away from this danger because this is danger. Not us walking in the middle of the street. That's not danger.
All right.
This gun.
Mike says what to you, if anything?
We gone. I don't know if
you start to run.
Yeah, I grab him. We start running. And now at this time, it's three cars. It's cars right here. I can see the cars, but I'm still trying to.
Now, are you running with your back to the officer?
Yeah, my back is to Mike Brown. He's right behind me, and Mike Brown's back is to Dorian Wilson, who's not out the vehicle yet. So we start to run. Dorian Wilson still hasn't got out his car yet. He's still in his cruiser, his truck. So it gave me time to run and figure out, hey.
Now, are you running to take cover?
No, at first I was just running to get away. But this guy's shooting at you. You need to get away so you won't get hit by no bullets. You know, you don't want to get hit in the back or anything like that. So just first find out where he's going to go. So
now it's just instinct. You're just running at this point.
Yeah.
All right. So now do you seek cover? There's a parked car. There are parked cars along. That's where you head.
Yeah, they're not parked. They're in drive, but because how Dorian Wilson reversed back on us in the manner that he did, it blocked the passageway of cars.
So they can't get by.
They can't get by unless they drive on the sidewalk or drive around. It was a car, the first car, I immediately slid in between. It's like a Sunfire, smaller car. I slid in between. Mike Brown's running. He still sees me clear as day. His words to me were, keep running, bro.
That's what he's saying to you. He's yelling to you, keep running, keep running.
I didn't hear Dorian Wilson. Now I'm beginning to hear his door close. So he getting out the car now. That's why he's telling me keep running. I'm still in plain sight. I'm not hidden. So I'm like, I'm in shock. I don't know what to do at this point because I'm like, stop running already. You know, I'm here. I'm in this spot. I thought I was out harm's way, but clearly I'm not because he still see me. He said, Dorian, keep running. He said, keep running, bro. And he runs past me. I turned to the people in the car like, please, can we get in your car? You know, this officer's shooting at us for no reason. It was a young couple.
You're not saying that. You're hoping that.
Oh, no, I said that.
You're saying this.
Oh, yeah.
You're saying
out
this
my mouth.
to these people.
I said this to this
young couple. And they say
couple.
what?
The guy, he looked like he was concerned. He started to open his door. I don't know if his girl, she was nervous.
Right.
I can see it in her face.
And you understand?
Yeah, and I don't, none. They pulled off. Right. I never got in that car.
They pulled off where, though? Because the car is still in the street, so they go on the sidewalk.
They drove around, yeah. So they wasn't waiting for him to move. They drove around, and at that time, I'm fully exposed. By now, I'm so in shock.
All right.
I feel Dorian Wilson approaching.
So Wilson is out of the car.
Yes.
Do you hear what now?
I can hear him approaching. I can hear his
you don't know if it's him, though. In other words, if you're not looking,
Oh yeah, I can just hear someone.
so you hear something approaching.
Yeah, and I know how the sound, the policeman, the shoes they wear, the click noise. So it's like, yeah, this.
So Mike has on gym shoes.
Yeah.
All right.
No, he had no flip flops actually. So he ran past, keep running, bro. The car pulled off, and now I feel Dorian Wilson coming. I'm almost in a position to like I'm scaling a building or something because I'm just standing there with my hands up like. I hope he don't see me, or I hope he don't shoot me. I don't know what he's gonna do.
You are aware, though, when you say, I want to make sure that people don't miss this. You are in the street?
I'm in the street.
Okay, now are you running or have you stopped now?
I stopped.
So in what you're telling us, you are this way.
Yeah, my body's tensed up.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're not this way.
Oh, no.
You're this way.
Yeah, my body's
and you're
tensed.
just stopping.
Yeah.
Hoping.
I don't get shot.
Then what do you hear? Do you turn ever?
No, I'm facing. I can see Mike still running. I mean, he's a big guy, so he's not running.
So you have turned. You're looking at what's in front of you, and that's Mike Brown and the officer.
Yeah, no, Dorian Wilson hasn't passed me yet.
No, but I'm saying he's in front of you. You can see it because in order for you to see Mike Brown, you had to have turned around.
No. We were running in the same direction.
But that's my point. He was behind you. If he says keep running,
I'm the one that stopped and slid into. He kept running.
So all right.
You see me? You feel me now? So I stopped and I slid. And he's still running.
So he's running past you
Yeah, so I'm facing the way he's running.
Right.
And he's still going that way. So
now, is he saying to you still keep running?
No, he said it. He said it until he passed me. And he's gone. Yeah.
Okay.
Now I don't follow him for that at all. So he's going, but again, he's a big guy, and he had on flip flops, so he's not running.
So he's not moving.
Light. Oh no.
Right.
So
now what happens?
Dorian Wilson's passing me. I'm looking at Dorian Wilson out the corner of my eye. I see him passing me. He has his weapon drawn. He's not running himself. He's just,
Does he ever say halt?
No.
Stop?
No.
He doesn't stop you're not his target in the sense of the person he's going to arrest. He's now going after Mike Brown if he passes you.
Well, he definitely didn't let me know that. He definitely didn't say, hey, kid, I'm not going after you. He didn't say, hey, you get down on the ground.
When I say not going after you, his focus is on Mike Brown.
He's almost, he didn't see me. Mm-hmm. I saw him. Mm-hmm. So that's where it kind of, he's dead set. Because he didn't see, I'm right here. He's walking right past me, and I'm looking at him. I didn't turn my head because I didn't want to be seen. But I can see him out the corner. I'm on peripherals. I'm watching him. His gun is drawn, and he's walking at a very fast pace. Not running, but he's coming. He's not saying anything now. And he fired another shot.
So he shoots.
Yes.
While he's walking in what you're telling us.
Yes, sir.
All right. Does he hit Mike Brown at that point?
From where I was standing and what I'm looking at, I definitely saw Dorian Wilson fire his gun while Mike was running. Mm-hmm. It stopped Mike. So rather it hit him in the back or grazed him on the arm, I know without a doubt Dorian Wilson fired his gun while Mike was running.
Did he fire again?
He fired one time.
So one time is what you heard and saw. Does
Wow.
Mike fall?
He didn't fall at this time, no. But his body jerked. Almost to say something touched him, something grazed him, something.
Now, this is where the DOJ and police officers wonder if you have changed your story at all. So let's go with at least what you will say now, what you contend happened. One more shot, target, walking, fires gun. You say now, let me put it this way. Did you ever change that portion of your story?
What I did was clarify it. When I met with...
What did you say initially?
Initially, I said he shot while Mike Brown back was towards us and it struck him. So they took that as me saying he shot Mike Brown in the back. Mm-hmm. When I talked to FBI in St. Louis County and they asked me to clarify, and I told them, if you want me to say that I saw a bullet go in his back or a hole in his shirt with blood, but no. But I definitely, for a fact, saw Dorian Wilson shoot his gun while Mike Brown was headed towards his home, and I'm standing there watching him.
So if Mike Brown is running, he's not running with his hands up.
Not at all.
So his hands are never up.
Well, not at this moment. Not at this moment.
When
Officer Dorian Wilson fired his second shot, that's what stopped Mike Brown.
All right. His body jerks, and then
he stops. He turns around and puts his hands up.
All right. Now, here is the question that everybody wants to know. Does Mike Brown at that point charge Darren Wilson at all? Does he move forward at all?
Moving forward and charging, it's two different things.
All right, so let's stick. Does he charge him?
No.
Does he move forward?
Yes, but not at a running pace or even
So some will say, though, even if you move forward at a slow pace after someone has shot you, why are you moving toward that person?
Because he has his hands up. He's telling Officer Darren Wilson.
But why are you moving forward, even with your hands up? Why don't you just stand still?
I'm injured. Again, he's been shot already.
But why am I moving forward? That's going to be the continuing question.
Oh,
you know that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm hit.
Yeah.
I'm probably frightened, but I don't know why I'm moving toward the guy that just shot me.
Again, shock, emotion, all of these come into play with what was going on.
So what you saw, you never saw any menacing behavior from Mike Brown in terms of moving aggressively, moving forward, moving fast.
Correct.
In that manner toward this police officer. How many feet between them?
In the situation, I'm trying to make sure that I'm out of harm's way, so I didn't have time to pull out my tape measure and be like,
granted, but were they this close? Were they 10 feet away? Give me an estimate.
Again, if I say this close to 10 feet, somebody gonna be like, well, we took the tape measure out here and it wasn't 10 feet, so I don't want to say exactly
Were they close enough to grab one another?
No, they wasn't that close, not at all. They wasn't even close enough to where, they were close enough to where Darren Wilson could have said something and maybe Mike Brown heard it, but Mike was saying something. He was saying, I don't have a gun.
He says to him, I don't have a gun, I'm not armed. He says that?
I don't have a gun. But he's saying it he's saying it angrily because he shot already. And I don't blame him one.
Right.
He shot for no.
So essentially he's saying it like, why'd you shoot me? I don't have a gun.
Why you shooting me? Why you shooting at us? I don't have a fucking gun. I don't have and he's trying to say it again. It's over, the ripple. Boom, 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 boom. He's shooting him some more. And I'm in my head like, what the hell? Why is he shooting him some more? I want to scream at him, but I'm so scared that I couldn't open my mouth. I want to scream at Officer Darren Wilson, like, why are you still shooting? I definitely didn't make a move like, hey, you trying to talk to my friend? Like, we didn't try to jump.
So he falls then, obviously.
Yes.
At that point, what does Darren Wilson do?
Darren Wilson is standing there. He's just standing
over him.
Yes, with his gun drawn still. He's not looking like, where's the other guy that was running with him? He didn't turn around and say, hey, you kid, come here. He didn't say anything. It's like he was still in shock. To me, he didn't do anything. He's just standing there.
And then what? Does he radio?
I didn't even send time for him to radio.
Did you stay?
Oh, no. Once I see that Mike, like his body stopped moving, I gagged because I knew he was dead. At first, I'm like, maybe he shot him in spots where, I'm going to see him at the hospital and we can talk about it. His body wasn't moving. He was dead to me.
And you do what then?
I kind of gathered myself. Like, I had to force my leg. I had to force my mind to tell my legs, like, go, 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 go. I threw up slightly. I'm like, go. I took off.
And you run where? To your house?
To my apartment, yes.
What do you feel when the Department of Justice suggests that your story does not jive with the investigation, the ballistics, and all of what they could determine?
I don't know how. I honestly don't know how. With all the extra witnesses they was bringing up and people saying that they were there and saw, I have people saying that they saw exactly what I saw. Then you got people saying that they could have saw something else or anything. So I was there. I was right there with them from the beginning to the end. My eyes, I couldn't blink because I was in shock. I saw everything. My life has changed dramatically. I can't go in a store now without people knowing me. Everywhere I go, someone knows me, not just someone, strangers. They're strangers to me. I don't know them. So if anything, the DOJ report, it lost me. It basically made it seem like they were protecting him. I don't want to say cover.
All right, so then you don't believe it was a fair investigation.
No, I don't.
And you have no comfort in, at that time, the head of the Department of Justice was a black man.
Black or white, all I believe in, right and wrong. Not color, race, or anything like that.
But if you believe that race has something to do with this, one would think the initial thought is, wow, okay, at least a brother's in charge.
That don't mean anything to me. I don't mean anything to me. I don't know how he was raised. I don't know who he's brought up around. I definitely know who he works for. And I know who Dorian Wilson works for. I know they're on the same team, so to speak. So regardless of the color or who was in charge of the investigation, it didn't matter to me, so it was done right. So, and I didn't feel it was done right.
Your life since has been problematic in some ways, I would think. Like you say, there's a notoriety, a celebrity that you didn't ask for that you have now. I know that you've been concerned about harassment. There have been incidents since then. You have been arrested since then.
Correct.
Do you believe that you are targeted by law enforcement? Do you admit that some of what has occurred has been in your lap? What do you think since that day?
Well, definitely since that day, I figure more than just the police know who I am. You know, so I don't just take an account of, I got to watch for police every day I walk outside. We got, you know, people with their own views everywhere. So I try to keep that thought in the back of my head, like someone could be really after me, even though I know that might be what is going on out here. I mean, because Dorian Johnson could, you know, he can mess a protocol that's going on in a lot of different ones, not just with Ferguson.
So what do you say to people who say about you, look, he's a little cat from the neighborhood, has had a checkered past, he's not a true thug, not a gangster, but has been in trouble before, has stolen before, has been caught in lies before, what do you tell that person to say, well, okay, I've done that, but I'm not lying here?
I'm human. You know, everyone's human. And not that just I'm human, I'm a growing adult. I'm not a grown man, I'm a growing man. So, of course, in my earlier childhood, I made mistakes. I've been through phases.
Young adulthood. Let's be clear on that, though. When you say childhood, when you were in college, you're not a child at that.
Oh, not at all.
So as a young adult.
Oh, and even more, thank you for acknowledging the fact that, yes, I did go to college. Because at first when they was putting it out there, oh, he just lied. Not that he was in college bettering himself. He wasn't out on the block when he lied. He wasn't out in the neighborhood. He was in college. So, and then a lie, so to speak, that's more than itself. And for 3 years ago, I'm sure if they dug in Dorian Wilson's past from 3 years ago, they'd find plenty more mistakes. Or if not, then that's good for him.
So you acknowledge, though, while being in college, you stole some stuff?
Oh, no. Not stole some things, but was in a situation where people around me may have did something that caused all of us.
You had nothing to do with the stolen backpacks, man?
I wasn't charged for it.
I didn't ask you that. I said you had nothing to do with stolen backpacks?
No, sir. I was with people who put me in a situation.
Understand what I'm trying to do here.
Correct.
And I told you this before we started the interview.
Yeah.
It's not my intention to paint you one way. If you stole some backpacks that day or if you didn't, it doesn't make correct the actions of a rogue police officer if that's what is believed. What I'm trying to do is clear up instances that are in the press so when people look to you, they'll know who they're talking to. You look at my past, there's some stuff that I've done in the past that if you said to me, you ever stole something, I'd have to say, got caught, got busted, was, in junior high school, paid for it. So let me again say to you, you had nothing to do with the stolen backpacks?
Nothing to do with the stolen backpacks. Now, if you were asking me, have I ever stolen in my life? Yeah, I'm human. But for that incident particularly, no.
Question of whether or not you've lied to police prior to this incident. There was a question of you lying about your identity once or twice. Did you do that?
Yeah, I did that before.
And that was simply what a lot of cats do. Let me see if I can get away with it.
Yeah, I mean,
who wants to go to jail?
Right. No one wants to sit in jail. Nobody. So,
all right. Let's go to the incident that people have talked about after the fact. And that is you're at a party with a group, right? Your brothers?
Oh, no.
A gathering? Tell me about that.
Oh, our neighborhood day. I mean, a lot of streets in the urban, we have neighborhood days.
So for people that don't know, it's just the hood coming out, some music's going on,
not even just the hood, it's neighbors. Like, your granny's, when your grandkids have a granny house, they'll be outside. It ain't just
everybody. I'm saying everybody.
That's what I say. I'm taking the hood because it's not hood, it's neighborhood. When we do these days, we barbecue for the kids, we play basketball with. It ain't just, all right, we brothers that grew up together. And we might not even live over here no more. Right. It might be, hey, man, that's the day coming up. Let's all meet up. Let's talk about what we've been doing, And that's just what that is.
So what happens?
What happened was the police, and normally on these neighborhood days, it's gang units. Gang units oversees neighborhood days.
To make sure they stay safe.
Stay safe. This wasn't gang unit that came. This was District 5, 3 or 4 cars of white males and females, one black guy. They pull up, they said they got a call from a lady saying that it was a group of kids and they may have guns. Not that it was a group of kids that was flashing
that have
guns.
guns, they may have
no,
guns.
they may have guns. So I don't know if they got guns or not. They may have them. But when the police pulled up, they all jumped out the car real fast. They got, it startled everybody that was out there. So they like, everybody's moving now, not running, but they're breaking up. Like the groups are breaking up because they don't want the police to talk to them. So they're breaking up. But me and my brothers, because I have 2 of my younger brothers with me. So, I'm just like, we're not doing that. We standing right here. What I'm moving for, like, we wasn't standing in front of nobody's house. It was a vacant lot. I mean, it was somebody's property, but we were on the sidewalk. So I didn't feel like we still wasn't doing anything wrong.
So confrontation ensues.
Actually, I asked the lady officer, I say, what's going on? Because they were approaching us because we wasn't moving. Everybody else was moving.
Do you believe they know who you are at that point?
Oh, without a doubt. Without a doubt. My face has been everywhere. It's been through their system. So, yeah, they know who I am. But, again, they didn't even come. When they got out the car, they was like, hey, we got a call saying a group of guys may have guns. And I was like, oh, okay, that's fine. Can I hear the dispatch call? Because I wanted to see that, you're not playing with me. So can I hear the dispatch call? And the officer was, she's friendly enough. Yeah, sure. And she played it over her dispatcher. So I heard the call come in like, yeah, these kids, they may have guns. So that's how I know. But then I asked her, are we being detained for any crime that we committed? She said, no, you guys can go ahead. Now, this is what the female officer is saying. As me and my brothers start to walk off, one of the male officers grabs my youngest brother. He's only 17. He grabs him. Hey, what you doing? Let me see your shirt, because he wanted to see the shirt that my brother had on. And I didn't feel like it was a problem for him to see the shirt. It's that he grabbed him.
The problem became when he touched him.
Yeah, he grabbed him. Like, you want to see the shirt? Tell him to show his shirt. You grabbed him by the arm and pulled him back after your officer told us to go. So after he pulled him back, it startled my other brother, my other younger brother. And he's never been in situations dealing with the police. And he has in his mind, my big brother was just in a bad incident with the police. I don't want my little brother to go through this. So he grabs his little brother, and the officer's like, hey, what's going on? Like, we're not doing anything. She just said we can leave. And then lets the officer go and holds my brother's arm. So now the officer's pulling my little brother's arm, and my other brother, he's pulling back.
So long story short, arrests happen, jail time happens for how many of you?
All 3 of us was locked up.
For how long?
My younger brother, he was sent off. He was just wanted for questioning. DeMonte, 2 days in the Justice Center right before they were about to send both of us to the workhouse, but he was released, and I just went by myself.
What do you need people to know now, a year later? First of all, let's talk about the neighborhood, Ferguson, et cetera. Do you think things are better now?
I don't get a time to go down in Ferguson myself and mainly walk through the old neighborhood and talk to people. I haven't done that.
Not at all?
Not at all.
No want to go back?
And not to say, I just don't want the all eyes on me feeling. To be walking down there and, hey, there he is.
You certainly understand the dialogue that started in our nation. Do you think things will get better?
I pray that things get better. I know that with our situation, it basically put an old scar back on the front line, so we opening the wounds back.
What would you do differently today that you didn't do that day?
I didn't feel, only thing that I would do different if I had known what was going to happen that day, we stayed in the house. We would have stayed in the house and had that conversation.
But I'm saying, what would you have done differently in the association when Darren Wilson pulls up? Anything?
Oh, no. I didn't feel, and that's what I was saying. I didn't threaten you at all, Dorian Wilson.
So what would you tell him? The anniversary, everybody's coming to Ferguson, everybody's talking to. We see that articles from Darren Wilson are out there. he is chosen because of the investigation, the ongoing investigation that goes on, and we should talk that you are looking at taking civil action. But what would you tell him? So he's chosen not to speak specifically about the incident. What would you tell him if he were sitting here? What would you ask him?
I would definitely tell him, how much he changed my life. How much that I know that he feels like he has to put his family safety and think about their safety, but he does. I want him to feel where I come from, where I'm standing at now, that if I wasn't doing anything wrong, you fired your weapon. Once I saw him shooting Mike Brown, that last ripple of shots, him going down, I didn't just see it, I felt it. That could have been either one of us. I could have been the one getting gunned down.
Would you ask him, why did you kill Mike Brown?
If I thought that he would give me a straight answer, yeah, I asked him. No, I would definitely ask him, why did you pull out the gun? I mean, I have family members that are police officers. I know I have basketball coaches, police officers. They police in urban neighborhoods where it's way, like, you thought me and Mike Brown walking down was this, it's way worse in Walnut Park or the projects and stuff like that. And you don't hear, I mean, you get incident, but you don't hear. You know, people know how to handle certain situations. You get taught, you get training.
Right.
You signed up to be a police officer.
What do you want America to know? Ferguson was that flashpoint that led to Baltimore, if Trayvon Martin was the start of America really taking a look,
right.
Ferguson seemed to be that ignition of everybody fueling a bit more anger. Even people who don't deal with officers and police, even folks who are living in the suburbs who never have to deal with those issues, still have to deal with the indignities sometimes of being black, but not on a day-to-day with police. What do you want America to know about what occurred and what we need to look at?
Basically, I want America to take from this is honesty. Let's just be honest. Let's just put it, it's coming out day by day. I mean, you can't stop everyone and, how your feelings toward black people, how your feelings toward white people. You can't do that every day, but basically, it's here. It's not something that's not here when people try to cover it up like it's not a racist. It's been a race issue. It's been a race issue since before I was born, before my grandmother was born. It's been there. Let's stop hiding it and just put it out here on the table. Let's have a discussion about it. Let's figure out ways that we can, go from this instead of trying to cover it up and making us bust all open again.
And finally, in your mind, there is no question that, because Darren Wilson says it had nothing to do with race. There's no question in your mind that this was fueled by race.
Oh, without a doubt, without a doubt. That same situation, Darren Wilson pulling over 2 white kids, both of those white kids would be at home talking to their parents. And that's how the world is. Since Mike Brown, we've been seeing incidents where police stop a armed white male counterpart. He won't get killed. He won't get beat to death or beat upside his head. They're going to lock him up and take him to trial. I just want that for my people as well. We've been seeing that. This is not my views. Since Mike Brown of last year, we've been having incidents. I saw an incident where police were at a house party with some kids at a swimming pool. And they was, slamming little girls all over the place. What was that all about? I don't want to say that's how all police officers feel, but it definitely needs to be on the table. Race is definitely something that's in this country. It's not going away. Let's talk about it. Let's get some conclusion about it. Let's move from it. Let's build on it. Because I feel like race is being taught still. Even if kids don't know about it, growing up, you can see how your daddy and mommy talk and act towards people of different color. So you kind of get that in you that this is how you supposed to act. So let's start teaching our kids and the generations under us. It's not about skin tone, it's about mentality, right and wrong, how you view a person.
All right. Appreciate you, brother.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Move forward, man. Hope we get past this.
The ghost of Mandela. Hope my flow stay